This video is all about how you can make your first £1,000 online as a brand new coach. My name is Suzy Ashworth. I have been working in the online coaching industry for the last 13 years. I've built an 8-figure coaching business, and I am the Sunday Times best-selling author of the book Infinite Receiving. So I wanted to break this down into just 4 steps because I think that one of the things that I have seen working really closely with hundreds of coaches over the last 13 years and then thousands of people through my programs is that people love to make it complicated. People love to give you a 75,000 step plan and follow this blueprint, and if you get all of these steps right, then you will be able to do it. And I want to say no. It gets to be way simpler than that. And the 4 steps I'm about to share with you are the same 4 steps that I think about when I am thinking about how do I create a 7-figure revenue stream. If I want to do a 6-figure launch or a multiple 6-figure launch, what are the answers to these 4 questions? So whether you are starting at your first 4 figures and you want to be able to do it in 90 days, or whether you are more established and you're wondering why you're taking things to market and they are not quite flying, come back to the basics and answer these 4 questions. So number 1, you have to be crystal clear on the problem that your offer is solving. And the problem that your offer is solving has to be a problem that your target audience, the general public, has. And that might sound like a funny thing to say. And when you become more advanced, often you'll hear people like me saying, you need to sell the solution, you need to sell the transformation, you need to sell the outcome. That is absolutely true. But before you sell an outcome, you have to be able to speak the language of your dreamboat client and say, I understand where you are at. This is point A. So the first minute of this video, I am saying, outside of my introduction, I am saying that I have worked with people who, when they're taking things to market, they're falling flat. They don't understand why people aren't buying. I'm saying that if you are a brand new coach and you want to make £1,000 within your first 90 days, then these are the steps. The problem that I'm solving is that people love to overcomplicate it. That's exactly what I said. People feel overwhelmed. They have a lack of clarity about what it is that they need to do to actually get their business off the ground. That's the problem that this video is solving. That's the problem that my programs solve. So when you are thinking about your dreamboat client, what is the problem that they have? This is where all of your communications start. I understand where you're at. So that is number 1. Number 2, I've already given you a hint of this. You have to know who it is that you are selling to. And you need to be specific. The more specific you can be about who it is your offer is going to serve, the more people your offer will serve. I was watching a video with Alex Hormozy just a couple of days ago, and he was saying how one of his clients has just 5,800 people on her Instagram, and she is making $1 million a year. 5,800 people on her Instagram, and she is making $1 million. She is somebody who helps a very niche audience deal with their accounting problems. It was a very, very specific audience, and I can't remember off the top of my head. When I first started out in business, I was actually a hypnobirthing instructor, and I had a video-based hypnobirthing school. It was the first video-based hypnobirthing school in the world. It was called the Calm Birth School, that helped parents prepare for calm and positive birth experiences. From working on that product, what I realized is that I loved marketing. I loved brand building. I loved the online world. And actually, I didn't just want to work with people who were creating positive birth experiences. I wanted to work with the pre and postnatal specialists who needed to learn and understand how to build a brand online. And that is how my business coaching started. And people would come into my programs all of the time and say, oh my goodness, this information is relevant to everybody. Like, you could work with so many more people. And at the time I said, no. If I had broadened out my audience from pre and postnatal specialists, so people who were working in the birth world, I would have been competing as a brand new business coach with people like Amy Porterfield and Marie Forleo, people who had been around for so much longer, had so much more money when it came to marketing and presence and credibility and authority, that would have made it so much harder for me to get my business off the ground. Because I decided to focus in on a niche that I was already familiar with, because I'd been working in that niche, I understood their fears, I understood their desires, I understood the mindset blocks that stopped them from putting themselves out there, raising their rates, knowing what it was to say. It made it so much easier for me to break through. So in my second year in business, I made £126,000 with less than 1,000 people on my Instagram and less than 1,000 people on my email list, because I was specific about who my target audience was. So this is step number 2. Be specific about who you are serving. Step number 3 is that you need to have a sexy mother trucking offer. You've got to be obsessed with your offer. And I think that people underestimate that. When you put together an offer where you know that when you've got the right person and they're giving 100% and you're going to step up to the table and you're going to give 100%, you know that the journey that you're about to take your clients on is going to be exquisite. It might not always be easy. It's not that necessarily that they won't run into roadblocks and challenges, but because you know what it is that you are doing, and you really love the process of supporting your clients, you are wildly, wildly excited about bringing it to market. And I think that often people, when they're first starting out, are a bit like, what do I think the thing is that's going to sell? What do I think that the thing is people are going to buy? And they start trying to copycat what they think the successful people are doing. And so they end up with an offer that doesn't come from their heart, their experience, their soul, and is a cookie cutter, poor imitation of something that they have invested in or tried to piece together by looking at what somebody else is saying on the internet. And that doesn't translate when it comes to selling. So being really clear on your offer and then excited about it is the 3rd step. And then finally, how you're going to make your first £1,000 in 90 days, or how you're going to have your first £100,000 month, or create your 7-figure business. Doesn't matter what stage you are at, you're going to have conversations. It doesn't just happen by magic. Even people that fall out of the sky and just want to work with you have to have a conversation with them. If you are a coach, you have to have conversations. And it starts with this, actually. What we're doing right now is a conversation. And then for some people, they'll be like, I want to know more. And it's those people who want to know more that hit you up in the DMs, that leave comments underneath your videos. You know, this is a value-based video. I'm not actually selling anything on here, but you will create content where it is absolutely natural for you to say, if you want more information, send me the word more in the DMs, and you will start to have conversations. You should be out networking in person and letting people know what it is that you do and how it is that you can help them. You should be letting your personal network know that you are now in the coaching industry and you're working with people who are your specific dreamboat client, who are looking for this transformation. Do you know anybody that might fit the bill here? You want to be having conversations about your work, asking for referrals, and letting people directly know how it is that they can get more information from you so that you can get into sales calls and talks. So the fourth step to creating your first £1,000 within 90 days is to make sure that you are talking, utilizing free resources like your social media, but also speaking to people in real time. You know, going through your contacts, letting people know that this is the new chapter for you. So I hope that these 4 tips have been super helpful for you, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.